Hi, friends. This is Chaplain Charles Riffee here again with you today from VCU Health in Massey. I'm offering another discussion, a short topic on spirituality within our integrative health program. And today I simply wanted to share something that was taught to me over a number of years that has been very helpful in how I try to see myself and how I try to work with others in my midst. And before I begin, I wanted to share a short message with you that was about a conversation I had with my youngest daughter, Margaret, who is about to turn 5, and I'm very proud of her. A month ago, we were sitting next to each other, and my daughter looked at me and says, "Daddy, who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm your father. I'm a chaplain. I'm a husband. Daddy, no, who are you?" "Well, I'm a Riffy. I like to do this. I like to do that. I like to do this." "Well, Daddy, who are you?" "Well, I don't know. I guess I'm just Daddy." "Well, Daddy, you're more than that." And then I turned the tables and said, "Well, Margaret, who are you?" "I'm just Margaret." "Well, Margaret, you're more than just that." And she gave me a hug and then went over to start watching more cartoons. I think it was Dora the Explorer or some princess related movie with lots of singing. I wanted to offer that short story in particular because she does raise something that's very important. A lot of the times when I ask and inquire about somebody's life or what is meaningful to them, who they see themselves as, they typically go off a list and either name certain things that were either pertinent to their families or things that they did, such as a job or an education or an interest that they had. But there is something within us that is quite deep and very hard to sort of pinpoint. We are more than just what we say we are. And within the chaplaincy world, there's been some influences historically in our lives that allows us to be more conscious of the deep conversations that we could be having with other individuals, even if the topic is something that seems relatively simple and low key or just an inviting presence, such as a conversation between, are you an Eagles fan or a Cowboys fan or a Commanders fan? Let's dig into it. In 1925, Antoine Boyson, who was a chaplain, tried to really pioneer how we looked at an individual that was in need of care, who was going through some form of distress or some form of stress, and trying to not just alleviate an issue, but come to an understanding where somebody who was going through it could see it themselves in a way that would offer care in a really substantive and individualized approach. And he came up with this topic called the living human document. Have you ever thought of yourself as a document, as if you were a page that could be opened and somebody that really cared could study over time just who you are, the depths that lie within you and without you? And the reason that he came up with that term, especially in that era, was to stop trying to approach problems that somebody might encounter or concerns that somebody might encounter physically, mentally, spiritually, specifically from this approach of what a tradition might say, a faith tradition. Well, okay, you're sad, well, you got to do these things. Or the reason you're sad is because this. Or theoretical things that, as you had in psychology, as it was developing over time, they would basically try to apply a big theory to an individualized case as opposed to starting where a conversation really should start, the individual. Who are you? What goes on inside your mind, within your heart? What are the influences interiorly, bodily, emotionally, spiritually that affect your worldview? And if a concern or a stressor has developed over time, how is it that somebody else can either be invited into that or partner with you as you're trying to seek peace where now stress or uncertainty lies? The living human document. Well, my friends, who are you? What helps you in a time of distress that has changed a worldview or a belief or a search for meaning within your journey? And can you study within all of yourselves to gain a sense of what truly matters as a way to plant your feet in the midst of that uncertainty forward? And lastly, trying to develop certain approaches, like somebody who is despairing because they have lost a loved one. It became very apparent that even that approach of just trying to look at the practical experience of an individual is not enough, because we are so different based on who we are, not inside ourselves, but who we are in context to the world around us. And there was another, McLemore provided another way of looking at it. It was called the living human web, recognizing that if there was a family, and if you have ever been with a loved one who has passed, did you see yourself in relation to others who were grieving and loving at the exact same time in the exact same space? Somebody could have gotten very angry or tearful, and that's okay, and had to leave the room. Others were able to be there and wanted to tell jokes and stories to remind themselves of their loved one, things that they found that were meaningful. Others wanted to just simply sit in silence. Some wanted to pray. Some wanted to physically hold the hand of the person that they loved. All of them were different. All of them may have been coming from a different vantage point. And the thing that unified all of that, though, was their love for that person and for themselves. And the important part of trying to say, well, who am I? A spiritual approach of trying to study that is also to not just look within what's going on in my mind and my heart, but also trying to recognize the deep influences that might actually shape us in different ways. My mother-in-law, Ping, her love language, if anything is out of whack, the first thing she does, she doesn't say it, she brings you food. Lots and lots and lots of food. That is her way of saying, I love you. And there's a cultural identity. There's a class and social identity from that based on her childhood of not having that much food to begin with. So it was a precious commodity. And trying to understand ourselves within the context that we don't necessarily build connections to can be a way that helps us uncover resources of past hurt and resources for resiliency and strength as we try to define, well, who are you? I'm Daddy, and I'm Charles. I'm a father. I'm all of these roles, but I'm something more than that. We are a living human document. We are a page that is constantly being filled, and the depths of it are unfathomable. But other people get to interact with that document. Other people shape what's going to end up in it. And as you look at yourself, if things are changing, have changed, and you find yourself in a space where you're needing to do a little bit of exploration, I ask that you do that with a sense of compassion, curiosity, and love, just like my daughter did when she inquired, well, who are you? I ask that you'll be able to turn that with a little bit of love toward yourself and your loved ones, and with peace and love, I offer that to you, and I look forward to talking with you all again in our next month. Blessings and peace, my friends. Bye-bye.